All right, welcome back. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Today we are continuing our RBT practice exam series where I'm going through a full RBT exam, question by question, and breaking down each question how I think you should think about it when you're taking your real exam. So if you are enjoying my videos, please like and subscribe. That helps me a lot so I can continue putting out these videos. Word of mouth is also great, so tell other people about my channel. I would really appreciate it. If you're looking for our study materials, check out our website, rbtexamreview.com, or you can go straight to one of these links, which will be in the comments and descriptions below. We offer 2 practice exams, a full RBT task list study guide. Our combo pack comes with everything, plus flashcards. And of course, we have our competency study guide for both your initial and renewal. So other than that, remember, any questions you have, please email me or leave a comment below. I'm happy to help. Keep working hard, and let's get into our exam. So we're on question 51. Money, tokens, and praise are all examples of what type of reinforcement? Okay, starting with a very straightforward question today. Easy question. If you've been studying, this is a question, again, that on the real exam, you should be able to answer in 10, 15 seconds and keep moving. Remember, our strategy is the easy questions. We want the easy questions to be easy, meaning we are prepared. So when we get an easy question, we answer it quickly and we move on. So 51 is an example of one of those questions. So what are money, tokens, and praise and examples of what? Examples of what type of reinforcement? Is it positive? Well, what do we know about positive reinforcement is we need to know what's happening with the reinforcer to determine if it's positive or negative. Okay, so we can't just say, yes, this is positive reinforcement, this is negative reinforcement. Praise could function as both, right? So we can't make that assumption. So A is out. B, primary. What is a primary reinforcer? A primary reinforcer is a reinforcer that is reinforcing without any learning history. Okay, we're just innately born being reinforced by these items. That could be food, that could be water, that could be warmth, right? Money, tokens, and praise are not primary reinforcers, okay? They need some sort of pairing, they need some sort of conditioning, okay, to make them reinforcing. So that being said, would money, tokens, and praise be an example of secondary reinforcement? Yeah, absolutely, right? These are secondary reinforcers, okay? They're paired with unconditioned or other types of reinforcers, okay, to give them reinforcing property. Money and tokens have no value until they are paired with items that do have reinforcing property, okay? Then of course, D, unconditioned. Unconditioned is the same as primary, okay? So 51, our answer is C. 52, Ben wanted to learn how to order his own meal at the local sushi restaurant. He worked with Ben on ordering a California roll from the menu on his own. Once Ben learned how to order the California roll, Ben started ordering chicken teriyaki, salmon rolls, and spicy tuna rolls from the menu. Ben's ordering is an example of what? Okay, so kind of a real life example where you've taught your client Ben to order from a menu. He can now go to restaurants, okay, and order for himself. But all you taught Ben was how to order a California roll, and now Ben can order all these other items. So what is Ben doing? Okay, let's look at our answer choices. We have options for stimulus and response generalization, maintenance, and tacting. Which one can you eliminate immediately? Well, you can eliminate tacting, right? What is tacting? Tacting is simply labeling. Ben isn't labeling, right? He's communicating. Okay, well, labeling is a type of communication, but Ben is engaging in the act of ordering a meal. Okay, he isn't just labeling items. Okay, so tacting is out. Maintenance. Well, what do we teach Ben? We taught Ben how to order a California roll, and now Ben is ordering all these other items. Okay, maintenance would be if we came back 3 weeks later and checked to see if Ben could still order that California roll. Okay, but that's not what we're looking for. So we're looking for A or B, right? Are we looking at stimulus generalization or response generalization? What is our strategy when presented with a stimulus and a response generalization question? You ask yourself, how many responses are we looking at? Okay. Well, Ben is ordering a California roll. He's ordering chicken teriyaki. He's ordering salmon rolls. He's ordering spicy tuna rolls. So we're looking at 4 different responses. Okay. How many stimuli? Well, we're looking at one menu, one stimuli. And when we have one stimuli and multiple responses, what is that an example of? That is response generalization. Remember, what is stimulus generalization? That's one response across multiple stimuli. Okay, so that's an easy way to remember it if you're not quite sure, right? Or you don't quite have the technical down, right? Remember, stimulus generalization is one response, multiple stimuli. Response generalization is one stimulus, multiple responses. Okay, so go through that process when you're looking at stimulus and response generalization questions, okay? And you should never get these wrong. So 52, Ben ordering all these other items, okay, off the same menu after you taught him how to order one item is an example of response generalization. 53, Jennifer has 4 children. She cooks them all breakfast each morning. Jennifer's 5-year-old son, who you work with in the morning, will throw his food at the other siblings while at the breakfast table. After an assessment, your BCBA determined that the food throwing was maintained by attention. Your BCBA instructed you to praise your client and provide him with attention every 2 minutes that he doesn't throw food. What type of intervention are you implementing? Okay, a lot going on in this question. When they give you a question with a lot of information, okay, long questions, make sure, okay, you keep it simple and you figure out what the question is asking you. What is the question asking you? The question is asking, what type of intervention are you implementing? Okay, so let's look at our intervention. Okay, your BCBA instructed you to praise your client and provide him with attention every 2 minutes that he doesn't throw food. That's what we're asking about. Okay, that's the intervention, right? You have a lot of facts in here, but we're looking for the intervention. Okay, so what does that represent? Well, our answer choices say we're looking for some sort of differential reinforcement procedure. So what is our strategy here? Well, let's start with DRO, okay? DRO is what? DRO is reinforcement for a behavior not occurring, okay? Ask yourself, are we reinforcing, okay, and providing him with something for behaviors not occurring? Yes, right? Every 2 minutes he doesn't throw food, we praise our client and provide him with attention, okay? So we are providing all these things for a behavior not occurring. That is a DRO, okay? Now let's say we were providing him for a different behavior, okay? So instead of throwing food, your client is using his fork to eat, okay? In that case, we might be looking at DRA or DRI, right? If we're reinforcing an alternative behavior or we're reinforcing a behavior for happening, now we're looking at DRI and DRA. When we reinforce a behavior in the absence, okay, or for that behavior not happening, that's a DRO. And so every 2 minutes he's not throwing food, we reinforce. That's a differential reinforcement of other behaviors. Go back and review DRO, DRA, DRI if you don't understand this question. It's a very straightforward differential reinforcement question, okay? So hopefully you've got this one pretty easily, right? If you didn't, go back and review, okay, differential reinforcement. 54, Micah is generally well-behaved, but prefers staying up late with his family. Whenever Micah's mom says time to get ready for bed, Micah will start to cry and beg to stay up late. What function most likely describes Micah's response to mom saying time to get ready for bed? Okay, what are our functions? Escape avoidance, tangible, attention, automatic. Okay, you should know the 4 functions off the top of your head. Okay, first thing you should learn, arguably, right? You should know these. We're looking for the function of Micah's response. What is Micah's response? Well, Micah will start to cry and beg to stay up late, okay, in response to what? Mom saying time to get ready for bed. So our functions are the reason the behavior is happening, right? Behavior typically happens to gain or get rid of something. What is Micah trying to do? Well, Micah wants to stay up late. So Micah is what? Is he escaping something or avoiding something? Yes. What is he escaping and avoiding? Going to bed, right? That's our answer, okay? Remember, always read all your answer choices. So B, attention. Is Micah trying to get attention, right? No, because Micah's behavior happens when it's time to get ready for bed, okay? Micah isn't engaging in this behavior to get the attention of everybody. Mama's already talking to Micah, okay? Access to a tangible. Is Micah trying to obtain something? No, he's not trying to get toys or iPad or snacks or anything, right? He's escaping or avoiding, okay? Getting ready for bed and going to bed. okay? And then automatic can't be automatic. Why? Because automatic is one person, okay? Automatic is not socially mediated, okay? Someone else is involved in this behavior, therefore it can't be automatic, okay? So the best answer here is escape avoidance. Micah is trying to avoid going to bed by crying and begging to stay up late. 55, Glenn is running DTT with his client. Glenn provides the SD, waits for a response from the learner, provides a prompt to the learner, provides feedback, and then pauses briefly before providing the next SD. What did Glenn do wrong? Okay, maybe a tricky question, okay? It's straightforward, but it's kind of a difficult one to suss out, right? So let's think about DTT. What are we doing in DTT? Okay, DTT, we provide our SD, and then what? Provide our prompt if needed. Then our learner response, we provide feedback, we pause, okay? What did Glenn do wrong? Okay, is pausing before the next SD incorrect? No, right? That's part of the DTT system, right? Is we have a post interval pause. That's what it's called. After you provide feedback, you pause briefly. You provide the next SD. Okay, so Glenn did that correctly. What about providing feedback after the response? No, that's exactly what you should do, right? You provide consequences, you provide corrective feedback, praise, whatever the feedback is, whatever the consequence is, you should be providing that after the response. So Glenn did that correctly. What about waited for a response from the learner? No, right? You want to give your learner time to respond, okay? A common mistake in DTT is providing the SD and not giving your client long enough to respond to that SD, okay? Waiting for a response is great, perfectly fine. So that leaves us with what? D. Glenn provided the prompt after the response. When does the prompt occur? The prompt occurs before the response, but after the SD. So we go SD, prompt, response, okay? The prompt, okay, actually functions as the replacement SD, the temporary SD, okay? That's why we have to fade the prompt, because the prompt becomes the SD. We don't want the prompt to be the SD. We want the SD to be the SD, okay? But the prompt is what we use, okay, to evoke a response we want. So Glenn provided the SD, waited for a response, and then provided the prompt. That prompt needs to come before waiting for the response, but after the SD, okay? So pretty good DTT question there, right? You need to know the different steps of DTT. Again, we have SD, prompt, response, consequence, inter-trial pause, right? Post-trial pause, okay? Pretty straightforward. DTT is not too difficult, okay? Understand what it is, okay? Understand the steps, right? And DTT should be fine on the exam. Okay, 56. You're teaching your client how to boil noodles for spaghetti. You prompt them to take out the pot, fill it with water, put it on the stove, turn the stove on, wait for the water to boil, put the noodles in, check the noodles to see if they are ready, and then you provide them praise as reinforcement for draining the noodles when done. What type of task chaining are you implementing? All right, actually a pretty easy question, okay? If you know your task chaining, if you're fluent in your terms and your definitions, pretty straightforward question. What type of task chaining are you doing? Okay, what do we know about task chaining? We can either we can either reinforce at the beginning of the task. We can reinforce at the end of the task, okay? We can teach individual parts of the task, okay? In the middle or wherever they might be, or we can interrupt the chain. What are we doing here? Are we interrupting the chain? No, right? We're not interrupting the chain. We're doing the whole chain and then reinforcing. So when are we reinforcing? Well, we're reinforcing at the end, okay? We're teaching this last step, okay, and reinforcing for the last step. And when you reinforce for the last step and teach the end first, what are you doing? Well, you are backward chaining, right? Forward chaining is what? Forward chaining, you teach that first step, reinforce, and prompt through the rest. Then you teach the first and second step, first, second, third. So if we were to teach our client, right, how to take the pot out, and whenever they take the pot out, then we reinforce and we prompt through the rest, that would be forward. But we're not. We're prompting through the whole task chain until we get to the very end, and only at the end do we provide the client with reinforcement. So that's backward chaining. Chaining is very simple, okay? Ask yourself, are we teaching that first step first and reinforcing, or are we teaching that last step first and reinforcing? Total task is simply teaching everything, okay? We're teaching just a whole thing because it's only one or two things they might be missing, okay? So task chaining, very straightforward. What do you need before a task chain? You need a task analysis. What's the task analysis, okay? Breaking down a task or a complex skill into smaller individual steps. Okay. 57. Jen works with a 6-year-old client 3 times a week. Whenever she's at the client's house, she will talk about the Las Vegas Golden Knights with her client's parents. Her client's parents know how much Jen likes the Knights, so they buy her a jersey the next time they go to the game. If Jen accepts a jersey, this would most likely represent a what? All right. So not too uncommon if you've been working with the client a long time for your client to want to give you gifts and offer you things, which is very nice, okay? But ethically, are we allowed to take gifts? No. Why? Because it creates what? It creates a conflict of interest. Why is it a conflict of interest? Because if Jen accepts the jersey, okay, it might influence her ability, right, to act objectively when the client is engaging in behaviors, when she's implementing treatment plans, when her client is asking their opinion on things. RBTs have to maintain a level of objectivity, okay? Whenever we're accepting gifts and we're accepting items and presents, things, that might start to mess with that objectivity, okay? And when that happens, okay, we might have a conflict of interest, right? Jen might say, well, I should be implementing it this way, but since I want another jersey, right, I might implement it the way the parent wants, okay? Now we have a conflict of interest, okay? And that's a problem. So we can't take gifts, we can't take items. We are now engaging in some sort of conflict of interest, which is unethical. Lack of communication, maybe, okay, if conflict of interest wasn't here, maybe lack of communication would be the best answer. But remember, we want the best answer, and the best answer here is conflict of interest. Acceptable scenario, no, Jen cannot accept the jersey in any situation. Illegal activity, no, it's not illegal, it's just unethical. All right, 58. Which of the following best represents an example of discontinuous measurement? So what is discontinuous measurement? Discontinuous measurement is interval recording, right? Time sampling, where we're taking let's say a large chunk of time and recording data for a smaller chunk of that time, okay? Continuous measurement is we get every instance of a behavior during a selected instance, right? Remember, when we're doing discontinuous measurement, okay, typically we're overestimating or underestimating behavior, okay, because we're not capturing every instance of that behavior. So, which of the following represents discontinuous measurement? A, during recess, you record how many times your client engages with other students. Ask yourself, are you getting every instance of behavior? Yes, right? You record how many times your client engages with other students. So you're recording every instance of your client engaging during recess. So A is continuous. B, while at home, you record how long it takes for your son to complete his homework each night. Are you recording every instance? Yes, right? You're recording the entire what? Duration of your son completing his homework. That's continuous. C, during a 2-hour movie, you take data for 15 minutes on your clients attending. Are you recording every instance? No, right? You took an interval from the 2-hour movie. So you're going to miss an hour and 45 minutes of data, but you're only going to have that 15 minutes, right? This is discontinuous. So you might use partial interval or whole interval or momentary time sampling. Whatever you're using, regardless, it's discontinuous, okay? And then D, you record how many times your client elopes during your 3-hour sessions. Are you getting every instance? Absolutely. How many times your client elopes, okay? Is your frequency or your rate, depending how you're recording it. Either way, every instance is continuous. Our example of discontinuous is this 15-minute block in a 2-hour movie where you're getting data. 59, Susie loves to draw with her sister after school. However, Susie's sister will sometimes try to draw on Susie's paper. Whenever Susie's sister tries to draw on Susie's paper, Susie will get up from the table and tell her, I am done drawing with you. Susie's sister is now drawing on Susie's paper less than before. Susie getting up from the table and telling her sister she isn't going to draw with her is an example of what? Okay, reinforcement and punishment question. What do you ask yourself? First, ask yourself, okay, is the behavior increasing or is the behavior decreasing? Well, Susie's sister's behavior is what? Drawing on her paper. The consequence is Susie getting up and saying, I'm done with you. Susie's sister is now drawing on Susie's paper less. So the behavior is decreasing. So we're looking at punishment. If the behavior is decreasing, it's punishment. If the behavior is increasing, reinforcement. So if we're looking at punishment, we need C or D. Are we adding something? Or are we taking away something? Are we adding stimuli? Or are we taking away stimuli? Well, Susie is getting up from the table and saying, I am done with you, okay? So Susie is removing herself, okay, from drawing, right? Susie says, I'm done. I'm done with you, right? So she's removing herself. Therefore, that is negative punishment. As a result of Susie's sister drawing on her paper, Susie removes herself, okay, from the situation, okay? Susie's sister's behavior decreases, therefore it's negative punishment. We're removing Susie from the situation, okay? Negative punishment. 60, you're watching the Olympics and keeping track of how many medals the USA has won. Counting the medals, an example of what type of measurement, okay? I ended on a very easy question today. So what are we doing? We're simply counting medals. What measurement is a count? Is it frequency, partial interval recording, IRT, or duration? Frequency is simply a count, okay? How many? Very simple, very straightforward. Hopefully 60 is the easiest question we've done today, okay? Partial interval recording is what? That's a type of discontinuous measurement, okay? IRT is the time in between two responses, and duration is the total time it takes for a response to complete. We are looking for the count of the medals or how many medals, therefore that is frequency. Okay, hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. That helps me out. I'll be back Wednesday and Friday with more videos, and then we'll do our Sunday shout out. So when you do pass, please let me know so I can include you on that. Check out our website for our study materials, or check out one of these links for both practice exams, our task list study guide, our combo pack with flashcards, which is our best deal, and our competency study guide. So as always, keep studying hard, and I'll see you soon.